Could you reflect some on your times with Keith Green?
Well, Keith was a zealot. I mean, he bounced through that door. I remember where this division is, it used to be a wall, and Dave Wilkinson pulled it out and furnished all this for me. And Wilkinson would come one day, Crean would come the other, as opposite as could be, because David was mature. He'd been a pastor for about 20 years then. Keith, of course, had come from the guts, and he'd tell me about his past life and sordidness. But he was hungry for God. I remember definitely a turn in his life when I told him he shouldn't charge to go into concerts, when they didn't do. They've gone back to it this last week, I think, but they didn't do that. And I remember talking to him about eternity on one occasion and holiness on another, and he you know, like a trout jumping up to get a fly, he got over it like that. And he would come back. I remember he bounced through the door. He didn't know he wanted to get through it before he opened it. He'd open it and bounced through, and he's a big guy. And I remember he used to give me pops and give me a hug. And he said, "Pops," he said, "do you know where all roads lead to?" We used to say, in England, all roads lead to Rome. It's an old saying. Everybody travels to Rome to see it. He said, "Do you know where all roads lead to?" I said, "No, they're saying no." He said, "You're wrong." I said, "Why?" He said, "All roads lead to the judgment seat." I said, "Very good." And he had I don't know, I've never read this anywhere, but I think it's right to say he had a holy fever, or if you like, a fear of God. I mean, when you think he didn't live very long, but I still get letters about him again. That book that his wife wrote on No Compromise is doing good. And they still send his tapes out. In fact, he wrote the Catholic Chronicles that they withdrew. Somebody wrote to me this week and asked if could they have a set, because God used it tremendously, but it got them into trouble for not being friendly enough with the Catholics, so they withdrew it. But and he loved to pray. He'd say, "Can we pray?" And he'd get down and really pour his heart out, you know. And he had visions of what God wanted to do in this area, and he was... Of course, other people couldn't keep up with him. They thought maybe he wasn't mature enough, in one sense, for leadership. You know, want everybody to jump up to his level, which you can't do any more than I could jump up now to the level of an Olympic runner. I used to run, and I'd like to run, but I can't. I'm glad even to walk. But he was like that. I mean, he saw eternal things. And if they weren't clear to you, he couldn't understand your stupidity. He couldn't understand why you're not leaping and, you know, and going full pace. If he fasted, he fasted. If he prayed, he prayed. There's a uniqueness as well. My precious wife has a tremendous insight to people. The first time she saw him, she said, "Len, the Spirit of God is on that young man." And in England, you know, you've got two kidneys as opposed to match, function the same. Well, in England, they say, "Well, that man isn't your kidney." In other words, you know, it's not your, if you want to call it, alter ego, what you want to call it. But immediately he came in, she said, "Well, there's something unique about..." And there was about him, and they don't have it now, they know that. I mean, he was willing to live at full stretch, and he expected others to do the same thing for him. And, he was a good reader. He liked to read Tozer very much, and he liked to read David Brainerd, or he liked to read the 3 volumes of Edward Payson. He read that too. In essence, dear brother, he's saying exactly what you say. Go back to the old paths. He'd asked me, why? Well, of course, he and the guy that used to be up up the street at the had a minister up there, Agape. They very much fashioned. They used to read William Booth. They read the stories of William Booth and the old men, and he'd come to me and tell me more about Booth. Tell me more about the nights of prayer. Tell me about the days of fasting. Tell me about your street meetings. And he'd warm up to it. You know, we want to get back to that. And it's one of those mysteries. You don't know why God moves men along like that, but anyhow.